Ah, should be live, I think. Pretty sure. Probably. Just to be sure, testing. We shall wait and see.
I think. Pretty sure.
Okay, yeah, well, it, cut out the very beginning, but we can probably live without that. I can anyway. All right, so link below to this. Look at that. Pretty cool. So I just fiddled a little bit with it and I got lucky and it came out looking a lot like what a magnet's doing to the mixed force that goes in. So you sort of have to think mixed force goes in and it sort of ends up being all one force coming out of one end and one force coming out of the other end. And so to me, that's pretty close. Obviously, the two ends could use a little bit strengthening because the magnet's much stronger at those two poles. But and the speeds are off and a lot of other things. They're not quite right, but it's really good. it's really close to a good image of a magnet. And then all I have to do is now make it interactive and put other magnets in the image and do other things. And so if anybody wants to help with this Canvas JavaScript thing, really would be good to let me know if you're going to do something. Just so we don't do redundant things and waste time and all that kind of crap. So email me at the ds@draftphysics.com below, and I will try to put links on this page to any other animations done and whatnot. The improvements. So you'll only have to really get to this page to get to the other page. So this page is linked below. Not exactly this page, but it's the page that's close enough. This page. Anyway. But yeah, it's really it's all this stuff I've been talking about. That's sort of what I've been talking about. Pretty good. Anyway, so the title of this video just has to do with the fact that I was thinking that I have the overview videos and the question videos, but I really should be making these subjects kind of specific. So I was thinking that for each one of these subjects, like the slit experiments and the lensing and the interferometer and or concepts like interference or waves or magnetism, for example, that I probably should have a video for each one of those where I list all the things we can say are facts. So I was just thinking about the two slit experiment. I've talked in the past about, I had a little list of different things that could be done, like doing the experiment in a vacuum. But then in thinking about it, vacuum would be irrelevant because, just like I have these film, photographic film slits, and they work. And the pattern is better and different with them. And so that's something to think about. But obviously, there's no cutout. There's no slit, technically. But there is a difference in the material. One absorbs light, and the other doesn't. The openings doesn't. It goes through the openings. The clear part. And that got me to thinking about refracting indexes. And that's really important to like the interferometer. When do you get the internal reflections and the change in the reflective index of the materials, and the fact that these materials are getting hit by the photons. So when you put a needle in front of a laser beam, the needle is getting hit by photons, and some of those photons are getting absorbed and creating, in the case of a needle, electrical potential. But in case of regular material, it's still creating some sort of disturbance, you would imagine, in the material, some sort of heat, some sort of, it's being absorbed. So it has to be radiated somewhere. It either has to The energy either it has to escape or it has to be converted into some other kind of energy, and then either it is stored in the needle or it's radiated, but it has to go somewhere. Photons are energy. They're a force. And you have to account for their progression through a system. So clearly, if they don't progress through the system, that is, they don't progress to the target, then you have to account for where they end up. Some of them are going to end up reflected, but some of them are going to end up absorbed. And this could be another indication of causing this Brownian motion that could be part of this thing. So these will be just a list of facts that, what things we can rule in and what we can rule out, and what we know about the pattern. Like the double slit pattern, the center maxima is smaller and a lot dimmer, I believe. Yes, I think it's bigger in the single slit than it is in the double slit. So the double slit has a smaller center, I think, and it's certainly less bright in the double slit, which seems intuitive because you're blocking the light that would go right through the middle. Obviously, the middle of the laser, which is going to be the strongest light in the laser. And secondarily, the strongest light's going right by the surfaces in the double slit. So it's getting bent. The strongest light's getting bent, where in the single slit, the strongest light is the least bent, and it's the dimmer light that's the most bent. So those are sort of like what I'm sort of indicating, that these are this list of facts. This is sort of what I'm shooting for, is some kind of list like that. And then where possible, resources that explain some of this stuff, like with the interferometer, you're talking about beam splitters, and then you're going to talk about the different quality of these different beam splitters, and certainly the whole subject of optics and internal reflection, and the fact that there's all these experiments that have already been done with surface irregularities on glass, creating essentially the interferometer pattern, the classic circular interferometer pattern, without any obvious quantum entanglement involved whatsoever. So anyway, that would be a kind of list of facts. All right, there is a shown similarity between perpetual economic growth, so you're just way off the show, so the agenda here, and cocaine addiction. Well, that's just idiotic. And consistent need for bigger fix. Is there a name for this behavior in physics? Now, this is just totally irrelevant, so fuck off with that crap, please. Wasting my fucking time. So I'll do the other asshole comments. Yeah. The perpetual and consistent liar called Matthew is in here. Oh, this comment is gone. Isn't that interesting? Okay, probably in the... Somebody spammed it, no doubt. It was a shitty comment. Oh, it's not there either. So I guess he deleted it on his own. Liar. Yeah, so anyway, he said in the second half of his comment how the Eddington experiment's been repeatedly done successfully and blah, 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 blah. And no, I've looked it up. I've tried to find it. Only one guy so far that I know of did the Eddington style experiment with the perfect eclipse conditions last year, and it's nothing like the Eddington experiment. He didn't use high enough resolution. He didn't use a film camera. It's done with digital camera. He didn't do any control pictures. That is, he didn't take his own pictures from the same location 6 months, earlier or later. He didn't have nearly enough resolution to find this tiny angular difference, and he was comparing it to star charts. I mean, it's just no way that could work. All right, anyway, so Bolt Lightning has some crap here. Yeah, well, I already read that, so that's garbage. Okay. So back to the regular comments. So anyway, so I didn't get to read the shitty comment, which is disappointing, but stuff like that happens. Yeah. Damn. But he's such a liar that it wouldn't have mattered. Because I would have deleted it anyway, because he's such a fucking liar. All right. Most of physics is still theoretical. Look, I've already played the clips over and over again. We just saw the clip from the PBS guy talking about how we've already established this is proof. We've already established this is the fact. This has already been proven by, this is the most reliable number ever calculated in the history of physics. I mean, quit playing this game that these assholes aren't insanely arrogant motherfuckers who have closed the door to any conversation about the fact that Einstein might have been wrong or that quantum mechanics might be completely founded on absolute rubbish and that it's not a pull universe and that this stupid Heisenberg crap is all a pile of crap and that photons aren't waving and they aren't going all over the place and they don't have randomness built. They think this is all the truth, fucker. This has nothing to do with any theoretical shit. This has to do with them turning a tiny weakly evidence theory into some absolute truth, no better than a fucking religious fanatic. Okay, wow. Shows how little physics you actually understand. Fuck you in the ass until thoroughly dead. Ever heard of experimental physics? Yeah, and have you ever heard of experiments that are self-confirming? Have you ever heard of circular logic? Have you ever heard of wrong assumptions, going into an experiment? Have you ever heard of that being a possibility, especially when there are experiments over things you can't see, where you have a whole bunch of indirect evidence? Have you ever heard of circumstantial evidence in a courtroom and how it's not really worth too much? Have you ever heard of that, shithead? Fuckhead? Dumb bastard. Okay, if it weren't for the experimentalists, where are those experimentalists exactly? Why don't you show me where they redid the Eddington experiment when they had the absolute perfect eclipse over the most technically advanced nation in the fucking world, and they didn't repeat his experiment on its 99th birthday. How come, asshole? The theorists would have formal religions by now. They have formed religions. That's exactly what fucking quantum mechanics is. That's what relativity is. There's no evidence that photons are bent by gravity. But more important, there's no evidence that photons are bent by magnetism, which, if they're electromagnetic, you would think would be one of the first things that you could bend a photon with was magnetism. It's supposed to be an electromagnetic function. How come I can't bend it with a magnet? Why don't you answer that question, asshole? So most of physics, the great core of it is experimentation. More absolute crap. Okay, you think they actually saw a Higgs boson? You think they've actually seen any of these 4,000 particles they've made up? No, they've seen, traces through clouds. That's how indirect it is. It's throwing baseballs through, a heavy, thick. I don't even know how. It's so thick that when you throw the baseball, the hole stays for a while. The hole goes like this. That's how, and you're saying that's direct evidence of something. Oh, yeah, fuck you. Oh, what a joke. They can't even, as I've demonstrated over and over again, they can't even honestly describe a single fucking experiment. The simplest experiments in physics, 2 fucking slits, they can't honestly describe how the experiment was actually done and what the results actually are. That simple. An experiment that fucking simple. Shine light through 2 openings. They can't describe it honestly. They can't describe the effects honestly, and they can't describe the flaws in the mathematics honestly. Not one single element can they get absolutely right. So fuck you again. Nut theory. Yeah, again, they lie about every experiment ever conducted, in the sense that you have to call it lies, right? When you say when Newton discovered Newton's rings 300 years ago, and when you sit there and draw on your chalkboard, well, look, when the light goes through the one slit, it just makes a clump. When we already know it doesn't just make a clump. When the light goes through a single slit, it makes an interference pattern. We can't get any of the details accurate or correct. Fuck you. And I'm a theoretical physicist, and you're a fucking douchebag selling fucking placebos, sugar pills, lemonade. No, it's not lemonade. It's Kool-Aid. Okay, it's just crap. You're selling fucking crap, and you're also a dimwit. Let that soak in. I don't need to let it soak in. You're an ass fucking hole selling shit. You're a dupe. You've been fucking goddamn duped. Why don't you answer my question? Why don't you explain how pull is the more elemental function than push? Why don't you explain? Why don't you give me your theory on how pull is so much more elemental? Why don't you explain that? Give me your theory on how pull is more elemental. You're not a theoretical anything. You're a shithead with a fucking, a very expanded anus. I have interacted with John Rennie. Wow, I'm so impressed. The fuck that douche is. On Physics Stock Exchange. It was exactly the place where when I posted a very polite comment saying, does anyone want to discuss the foundations of physics and the possibility that Einstein might have been wrong? And just by posting that, they had to delete it. Because nobody can have that conversation. They had to delete it. They didn't just say, oh, you're evil. You shouldn't bring this crap up. They wouldn't even allow people the opportunity to say, yes, I'd like to talk about that. They just basically said, we're going to censor that conversation. We won't allow you to have it. So fuck you, censoring Nazi fuck, religious kook, burning the books, burn the dissenters. That's all you, witch burners, dissenter burners. Okay. And he can be a bit brash sometimes, but he stands up for what he thinks unless you demonstrate that he is actually incorrect. Why don't you show me where he does that? If I make a response video to some fucking crap he spews, will he respond to it? Will he acknowledge the existence of the video? Will he answer any of my questions? Why is the pattern in the photon experiment with the slits so dissimilar from the pattern with electrons? How come electrons are doing this nice gradual on-off thing and photons are doing pretty much on-off, on-off, on-off when they're supposed to be doing the gradual thing? You want to explain to me how a gravity lens that's exactly the opposite of this lens, okay, gravity lenses been more in the middle and less on the outside. Why don't you explain to me how that lens can resolve an image that might be 100 light years across and get all of those photons bent the right amount when the lens is the wrong shape? It can't bend light to a focus because it can't. Because it's not the right shape lens. Cunt. Let's see. Unless you demonstrate that he is actually incorrect, in which case he is usually gracious. Well, why don't you give me an example of that when he was demonstrated to be incorrect and he was gracious? Why don't you show, got a reference, got a fucking link to that page? Also, Physics Stock Exchange, is not the place where everybody with their own personal theory or whatever can waste the time of real scientists. No, exactly. You can't even allow your real scientists to choose to do that. You have to delete it. Okay, that's what. Why do you have to delete it? Why don't you just say all of us scientists will agree not to participate? No, you have to delete it. Why do you have to delete the suggestion that your physics might be horseshit? Okay. It's where you can ask specific questions. Yeah, where you can ask narrow questions where you are asking them, well, what kind of clothes does the Holy Ghost wear? Does he dress in robes, or does he do t-shirts, or does he wear a mega cap, or because I don't want to clash, when I die. I don't want to go to heaven and be clashing with the Holy Ghost. So you can ask specific questions about their fucking religion, but you can't challenge their religion, you fucking lying cunt. Man, you're just such a fucking fanatic asswipe. You fucking religious kook. Okay. Also, okay, it's where you can ask specific questions, right? Narrow questions about your fundamentalism, your fundamentalist religion, but you can't challenge your religion. Okay, if your theory is really substantive, it gets published. So again, more lies. Okay, I mean, what gets published is not reviewed by an editor. Let's understand that first off. No editor looks at nobody who understands anything about physics reads your paper and says, oh, as a smart physicist, I know this has no merit. No, some idiot reads it, okay, who just has been told anything that challenges these fundamental ideas, throw it in the garbage, okay? Okay. That's all that happens, shithead. And you fucking goddamn know it, you lying cunt. And first try to get it on the, whatever this is, RV, which is free, whatever that is. Don't assume the scientists just want to listen to what some random person. No, let's understand. I've offered $5,000, okay, for them to have the guts, all right, to put up or shut up, in a sense, to stand by their physics. So I've offered $5,000 for 4 hours of their fucking time. Watch 1 hour of video I produce and then show how I am fundamentally, provably wrong. And nobody's taken the challenge, cunt. Okay, not Sean Carroll, not Degrassi Tyson, not Physics Girl, none of them. Not one single one of them accepted my offer, okay, to put their reputation on the line and show how I'm full of shit. Real money. So I'm not exactly a random person. Random people aren't offering them $5,000. Shithead. Has to say, why would we? So again, $5,000. That's why you would, because I'm challenging your very integrity. That's why you should want to prove me wrong. Is because I'm calling you lying, fanatical scum. You're just as bad as creation scientist cunts and fucking truthers and flat earthers. You're the fucking goddamn lying problem on this planet with your fucking goddamn fanatic faith in a theory that hasn't got fucking drop one of hard evidence behind it. You have absolutely no fucking evidence for your fucking silly theory that Nicole Simpson was killed by a bunch of drug lords and blah, 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 blah. You have a wacky, silly theory based on your need for the universe to be a silly place full of silly shit. And that's all it is. You're just religious kooks trying to turn a logical universe into a wacky one so you can justify your silly, fucktarded existence. To answer your question, yeah, right. The video basically just says, look, I posted this perfectly innocent comment and these cunts deleted it in 45 minutes. 45 minutes deleted. Perfectly polite. Wasn't even on the main board, right? So it wasn't even a question put on the main board. It was just a question I asked on my profile page. Is anyone interested in talking about fundamental physics? And I wasn't allowed to ask the, I wasn't allowed to solicit participation in that conversation. So fuck you. You have no answer for that. You're Nazi fucks. To answer your question that was rejected by the stock exchange community, don't take it personally. I didn't take it personally. I just take it as you are what you are what you do. You've demonstrated how this has nothing to do with people doing anything obnoxious, has nothing to do with me being a truther or a liar or some false prophet or anything like that. It just has to do with you wanting to close the door to any dissident conversation. You either talk your cult talk or you're out of luck. You're either part of your Borg or you're done. All right. Some stuck up people there as anywhere. Don't take it personally. Some stuck up people there as anywhere. Well, I'm just saying, obviously you've put stuck up people in control of the gate. You're saying you're honest people looking for honest conversation. You're willing to be proven wrong. And yet it's no evidence of that. 45 minutes, it's deleted. I complain, I make a video, and you don't suggest they should correct that and repost my profile. Put my profile question back up, do you? No. I mean, I basically posted the comment in some kind of sandbox. I mean, it's not even on the real board. It's in an introduction page that probably almost nobody reads. All right, the entire field of classical electrodynamics is the reason why light is classically not quantum mechanical. So I'm not referring to photons because that is a quantum of light. Well, it doesn't matter. There's no such thing as all this crap. Light has always been the same. It was the same thing it was 300 years ago. It is today. So you can pretend that light doesn't travel in straight lines between point A and B at the speed of 3 million meters per second, but you're just diluted shit for brain. There's no fucking wave. A wave that can be expressed mathematically. So more just horse shit. Okay? Just horse shit. Sorry, there's just no evidence of a wave. There's no evidence photons are a wave except when you put them through a little tiny slit. So the only time they decide to be a wave is when you force them to interact with something. Gee, maybe that should give you a clue that the thing they're interacting with has the wave in it, Jack for ass. God, you people are so stupid. Anyway, let's get through this. Mathematic by complex value plane wave. Yeah, again, just more shit. Fuck you, you're an idiot. Look at any intro. I don't need to look at it. I've already watched all the physics lectures. You have absolutely no evidence that light's doing this and this. No, zero evidence. You don't have any evidence. Zero evidence. You idiot. Where's your experiment? Show me your experimentation. Because the two-slit experiment isn't evidence of it, shithead. Not even close. And certainly the single slit isn't evidence of it, right? Because, yeah, that's right. The single slit in water doesn't create any interference pattern. Retard. Anyway. All right, complex value plane wave. Look at any intro to electromagnetism or electrodynamics book. I don't need to. Why don't I just recite to you Feynman's quote? Feynman said in Auckland, New Zealand in 1981 or whatever, I kind of wish they would just quit doing this wave crap because guess what? Light is a corpuscle. Okay. Basically moves from point A to point B in a straight line, unless it hits an electron. But I mean, he basically said it's not a wave. It doesn't have any properties of a wave. It's stupid to call it a wave because it's not waving, idiots. So his book certainly isn't going to validate any of your horse shit. Griffin's book is a great start. Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. This description of light is excellent on the microscopic scale. The evidence is overwhelming. Oh, amazing statement. The overwhelming evidence. You don't have any evidence. Zero, nothing, no evidence. Nothing. Your evidence does not fucking exist. For a long list of evidences, oh yes, full of shit more crap. See John D. Jackson. Okay, well, we'll look up John D. Jackson. You think he could make a fucking YouTube video? I bet he hasn't. yeah. The great scientist who can't make an argument worth shit, no doubt. After you learn enough about the classical view, I'm so uninterested in your retarded religious jargon about before Christ and after Christ and all this bullshit. There's one view, okay? That is the honest man using reason and logic. There's a stuff called evidence. You don't have any. You just have stories about your talking bears, and your homeless pigs and your blind mice, and your talking bears. You don't have any fucking evidence. Jesus Christ, amazing crap. Okay. Then go read about quantum view, which is called Quantum Electrodynamics. Richard Feynman's book is a great read. Well, maybe you should read his book and read the part where he says, I wish they wouldn't teach that photons are waves. He says that, shithead, because he says it just creates confusion. It's a corpuscle. He says it directly. He says light is a particle. He says it. And here you are quoting him as if you know what he said, when apparently you're the ignoramus who didn't listen. All right. Keep seeking truth, brother. Yeah, fuck you, boy. Okay, grow up, boy. You little boy. And don't let others scuttle your curiosities. Oh, I mean, that sounds so fucking gay. Go suck a fucking dirty sock, you stupid cunt. I won't block you, but I'll delete this slop. All right. That's it. The other, I have already done the other pooey comment. All right, so let's go back to this, and then I guess I might as well put my animation back up because that's just very exciting. Fun. Magnet! Ah! It just screams magnet. Magnet, magnet, magnet! Okay. So, commenter. Fucking cunt commenters. Let's see who's... oh, no. That's right. My viewers aren't fucking cunts. They're nothing. Absolutely nothing. There. So, you're pretty much useless. Okay. Viewers are useless. Gotta remember that, Gary. Viewers are useless. So I'll give you a little bit of time. Otherwise, this is just sort of a announcement video that, ooh, isn't that cool? So that's one of the announcements. And the other announcement is I will try in the future to do a video on each one of these subjects that will provide all of the unanswered questions specific to the specific subjects, and just go over some of the things we know as facts. So some of this stuff we don't have to have debates about because we're going to establish certain things as facts. Like exactly what are the differences between the single slit and the double slit, that kind of stuff. What exactly happens when you split light with a beam splitter? What does quantum mechanics say? Does it say that two different photons can interfere with each other's wave functions? Or does it say one photon can interfere with its own wave functions, interfere, and then decide its fate? So can two separate photons create wave functions or random probability blah blahs that can interfere with each other and make two photons go in two different directions? Or is it always just one photon? If I put single photons into the interferometer, will the single photons travel both paths, you know, and interfere with themselves and create one result going into the target to create the ultimate interference pattern? Is that how it works? I mean, it seems to me that one of you people should know some physicist who's willing to answer the simple fucking question: would the interferometer work with single photons? Is that too complicated for you? I mean, you did the single slit experiment with single photons. Why can't you do the interferometer with single photons? What's the big deal? Why can't you answer the fucking question? I mean, it's fundamental to your theory. Why you can't have a theory, right? If you're not going to say, yes, no, we're saying that different photons can create wave functions. Those wave functions can overlap. So two different photons can interfere with each other and create a new kind of pattern. Or no, individual photons can't interact. Only a single photon can have its wave function screw up and create a interfere with itself. So answer the question. What does quantum mechanics say? Answer the fucking question. So I can put it on the fact sheet. Ah, that is so cool. It's just, so I'm just saying, see, I can do all kinds of illustrations with this, right? I mean, you got the red and the black. So now if I can do this, I can show how the reds are reflecting, and I could show the ping pong balls bouncing back and forth and do all that. You know, I'm a long way from doing that, don't get me wrong. This was just happened to work out just fine. I mean, I just did a couple of little changes and it just happened to create a very good effect. But clearly it's not mathematically correct yet. All the little squares aren't moving the same speed. There's lots of things that are inaccurate. But the thing with the change in speed, the advantage it gives you is it really gives you this idea of the three-dimensionality. You know, the idea that these rays are coming off in different directions. And that's sort of a nice effect to be able to keep. I like that it looks three-dimensional. Yeah. So, but yeah, I like that. Yeah, I like it. Yeah. But I should take my drawing, you know, and maybe I'll just turn this the other way, and then I can put it right on top of my drawing. So that might be another way to help illustrate this, and make, you know, maybe I can make little, you know, GIF files out of it. But yeah, it's going to take too much time. I just don't know. I wish somebody else would do this for me. Yeah. But it really is amazing how many effects, just fucking around with a couple of different numbers in the code, and you can create all kinds of interesting effects. I mean, when I made the thickness of these things 0, or no, 1, you know, and then they came out like long threads, like needles, and they were rotating, and it was really quite cool. But it wasn't very magnetic, so yeah, so I didn't keep that version. But yeah, I like this. All right, come on, callers. Running out of time. You're not gonna participate, then yeah, cut it short. I got no comments. There aren't any decent subscriptions to read or to watch or do anything with. Pretty pathetic. I watched this energy conference panel discussion. Man, these people are all nuts. So they waste time talking about love and consciousness and need to get, and it's all this free energy crap, and they all think water has memory, and you can store your memories in a glass of water, and it's just so. So this is the tinfoil hat conference that Ken Wheeler was a speaker at, and these people are all fucking nuts. And so that wasn't too good. And then the Franklin guy, who I like from the other place, posted a couple of videos where he sings really badly. Yeah. So that wasn't physics either. And then even this stupid shithead, this Electric Boom guy, did a thing on AC and DC, and it was just about, these stupid mathematical waveforms and stuff, and it just wasn't interesting at all. So that sucked. And so yeah, I didn't watch the physics girl thing because I just figured this is silly shit. As soon as you're doing physics riddles, yeah, you're too silly. You're just wasting people's time. So that's all there really is here, right? And so there's a Mr. Natural video on ear training, but that's not really physics. So yeah, so that's it. So there's just nothing to do with that. I can't make any, can't do much with that. So I probably should go try to get to bed early, and then try to really get going and do a whole bunch of stuff and blah blah blah. It's probably not what's going to happen. All right, so I'll give you another 2 minutes and then I'll go. I can just smoke, I guess. Yeah. Vape. So I don't think there's any other news in physics. Let's see, physics news. Think. Anything else I figured out? I don't think there's anything new. I usually have a thought of the day. I guess I didn't have one today. Well, I actually did. What the hell was it now? Something about, I think it's about current and magnetism and the moving of the electrons, and that gets a little complicated about what causes the electric current to cause a magnetic effect. And so again, it's the idea of creating a filter. First, it does this reflecting thing of the external force that is a magnet. And then there's also the idea that electrons moving will excrete force perpendicular to their motion. But I'm not too sure that anything I've said in the past was incorrect, because I don't think the excretions by the electron are actually I was trying to think forward and back. So one direction would be when they're moving, it's the voltage that really creates the magnetism. So it's the pressure that's creating the magnetic effect, in the sense that you have to have the pressure before the current creates the pressure. And so the movement of the electrons comes before the electrons can be pressurized. But they can't be pressurized unless there's voltage to pressurize them. You see what I'm saying? I mean, trying to figure out which one is the chicken or the egg, right? The electrons aren't going to move until the pressure exists first, right? So you have to have the pressure before the electrons are going to move. But you can't see the voltage. That is, you don't see a difference in the conductor until the electrons have moved. So in a sense, you see that it can't create a magnet until it's pushed the electrons and pushed the protons, in different directions. So until it's done that, there's no magnet. Get it? So that's why the magnetic field is out of phase with the electric current. Yeah, it was that kind of conversation. I mean, it was that kind of observation that I have to go through that very carefully to define which is the chicken and which is the egg. It's sort of related to that PBS guy when he was talking about the electron going around and how he was saying the EMF created by the electron is holding the electron in the path, which was almost the same as the guy saying the pressure of the earth. He actually said that part too. Remember, he said something like the magneto something or other inside the earth or whatever. And we know that's created by gravity. I mean, I know it. Maybe you don't know it. But the energy inside the earth, the pressure, that pressure isn't coming from anything other than gravity. Gravity is accelerating all the material atoms towards the center of the earth, and that's creating the pressure. So you can't say that pressure creates gravity, right? Because that pressure was created by the gravity. If you get my drift. I mean, the chicken can't give birth to itself. Or any other animal. So anyway, no comments. It's really surprising. Oh, it's Friday. Oh, but it's not really Friday. It's Thursday night. Yeah, okay. Thursday night should still be okay. Friday nights aren't too good sometimes, I have to admit. Let me see how many viewers there are just to see how there could be so little commenting here. Nothing. I mean, absolutely nothing. Which one? I'll keep forgetting which one I have to open to see this shit. 12. That's about average. So, I mean, a little below average, but it's about, well, it's probably about average. 12 a lot, which is just not good enough. Need more participation. All right, so another minute. I'll give you another minute. That'll be it. So just think of this image. Just look at it and you say, all right, let's just say that you know, because I've told you, that there's a mixture of black and red, and that's gravity. So the black and red stuff is going in, just like this stuff is coming out. The black and red random, completely mixed, is going into the magnet. And this is what comes out of the magnet. And you'll get just how, oh, yeah, that is so fucking cool. Yeah. That's such a great illustration of what the magnet produces. So it takes gravity and turns it into that. It takes something that's mixed and looks innocuous and it turns it into this polar thing. And that's what a magnet does. And see, when you have voltage, when you push a magnet in towards a wire, what you're basically doing is all that red shit at one end, all that black shit at the other end. What's basically happening is that shit is saying to all the electrons on one side, it's saying run away, and all the protons on the other side are saying run away. So you're basically segregating the electrons from the protons in a sense when you push it in initially. And then once you create that pressure, though, they can't go any further. Nothing can move. So you've got to pull that field away, or you've got to turn the field, or you've got to cut it off somehow, because you have to allow everything to go back to normal for you to push it again. So, I mean, everything stops unless once you create pressure, you have to relax it, or you can't repressurize it. Old creepy says, yeah, well, fuck you, Michael B. What are you? What kind of creep are you, you little pussy? You little weak ass. Why'd you get a real YouTube account before you fucking start pointing fingers at other people? You little small fucking inverted dick fucking ass licker. Fuck you, little douche. Pussy shit. Can't answer a simple question, can you, pussy shit? Does quantum mechanics mean that separate photons can interfere with each other? Or does quantum mechanics mean that only a single photon creates wave functions that interfere with themselves and make the photon do something wacky? Yeah, no, you drop dead and then get eaten by fucking maggots and then puked into a fucking toilet and then flushed into the fucking ocean, you fucking useless piece of shit. You little pussy. It's just amazing. These unaccountable little creeps. They come on here with no fucking accountability. Nothing. They're hiding behind little rocks, throwing boogers at people. I mean, they're just such pussies. I mean, they should be the first people killed in any civilization. These are the people that fucking civilization should hunt out and fucking they should kill them in the most dismal fucking way. Because you can't be a lower creature than this. Hiding behind rocks, throwing duty. Unfortunately, it's just envious people. You know, it really has been a liability my whole life. I mean, people are just like, oh, Gary, you're just so cool and you're so pretty and you know, you just have it all. You know, and they just resent. Especially my beautiful eyes. Look at those eyes. Chick magnet eyes. I hate that. I can't stand it. And then I end up being brilliant too. You know, that really just starts them really spinning around with envy. Okay, no physicist in the room, I guess. Yeah, nobody can know anything in the room. It is a bunch of little children or something, 12-year-olds. Sucking on their toes and whatnot. All right, so I guess it was an hour talking to myself, but yeah, I guess that guy don't know me very well. I've talked to myself for more than 1 hour. I can do hundreds of hours. Because frankly, that's it too. I mean, I'm so full of interesting that I can actually do that. You know, so another win for me. So many talents, one package. Anyway, all right. So enough. Until next time and such. But yeah, cool. Till next time. I mean, you really do have to see the real thing. I mean, it looks kind of lame in this, when I look at it here. I mean, it does look kind of, but when you see it really working, it's much smoother than this thing. So, link below. All right, stop broadcast. Till next time and such.